everybody. My name is Ryan Sherrer, host of Small Business Chronicles, and we're back with another episode. This show has become your Swiss Army knife for business practices. I try to bring you a little bit of everything. If you're an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, getting started in business on first few years in, and you need some good advice, and because that's how we do it. If you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, we just kind of huck this business on our back, and we use YouTube, friends, family, networking, things we learn on the internet to grow. And I always want this show to be a resource for that, and one that you get some entertainment value out of as well. And today I got Hannah Burnett with me. We both kind of specialize in small town marketing, so I thought it would be a good, absolutely positive way to look at how small town marketing is way different than big town marketing. When we go on the internet, we are inundated. I mean, absolutely inundated with marketing about Amazon and Walmart, all your big names, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. But how in a small town do you market and you do it effectively? And how do you get your name out there when one wrong move is a reputation that can spread by wildfire? So today we're going to sit down and have us a little talk just about small town marketing, things that we have occurred. We have no real questions. If anybody ever wonders what my notes look like for the show, this is it. I don't really have them. I don't function that way. And this show may not be for everybody, but if you're still listening, it's for you. So let's get to it.
I'm great. How are you? Good.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Excited to sit down and talk about small town marketing. It's a huge passion of mine.
Me too.
So.
Yeah.
So tell us what you do for a living. Why should we trust you? That's always my first question to every guest is tell me your credentials.
Absolutely. That should always be the first question. Always. So my husband and I own and operate a branding agency, and it's specifically targeted towards small town independent physicians. We really like functional medicine doctors that it's a little bit of the feel more like a small town country doctor of the old days. And we help them take a look at their business, make sure everything's running efficiently, put together their branding assets, figure out what their brand is, and then start getting back out there in the community. So our goal is to kind of come in and prop up these practitioners that really need some help and are really trying to do great things and help them give back to their communities. So that's us.
And that's a huge part of small town
Yes,
marketing.
it is. It's a fight. Like when you get into small town marketing, you have to remember who you're going up against, and it's all of the big guys, and you don't have the tools at your disposal, so you have to be witty about it. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And not only are you going up against the big guys, right? I think when you have a big guy in a small town, but then you have you'll have a couple that aren't big guys. They can either collaborate to fight the big guy, or now it's like card 2 on a Tyson fight. It's now you're fighting each other. So that's something that I've seen in small towns too.
And usually you see it in small service-based businesses, and we see it a lot in healthcare. You get to a point you can't fight it anymore, and so they turn everything over to the hospital organization or whatever it is because they just can't make it on their own. And we're losing a very valuable aspect of our society in these small town businesses. It's a big deal.
You are one of the to actually start. I remember growing up. I'm 45 years old. I'm from a little town in Missouri. If you've ever watched the show Ozark, I'm about 20 minutes from there. We're not all like they portray.
I know.
There's some of us.
Yeah, some of us. Stereotypes come from somewhere.
There's a reason. Yes. But I remember growing up, radio and paper were just amazing. That's where you heard everything. I grew up listening to Jack Buck narrating or announcing the Cardinals on KJL, right? My dad working on the car, yelling at me because I didn't hold the flashlight well, and Jack Buck half drunk announcing the Cardinals game. But I heard about all the businesses, and 30 years later, 40 years later, some of those businesses are still around, and that's how they built what they did. But a lot of those businesses are gone. the paper, the Lebanon Daily Record. It was a big deal
Yes.
to be in the paper. If you got into the paper, man, you were what had my grandma call it? Oh,
Yeah,
sitting
there
on a
you
high
go.
tower. That's what her
I
phrase was,
love it.
right?
I love it.
Right. So that was it. But now we fast forward to the 2020s, to the and radio and paper, just
Right.
even in small towns, just
No,
aren't that
they're
effective
not.
anymore.
And so then what do you do? Like if your normal avenues of
Right.
branding and marketing, what do you do? And when we were looking at that problem, we started trying to figure out why getting in the small town newspaper was important. Why did they do things this way before, and what is the equivalent now? And it's organic social media. It's the same thing. You're trying to be seen in your local environment. That's what the newspaper used to
Yeah.
do. Well, now you build your friend group and you're doing the same thing organically online, but you're reaching the same result.
Right.
So yeah, there are ways to do it. It's just different. Yeah.
And I agree with you. And it's weird because as we see social
Hmm.
media reshuffle, what their big competitors
Right.
and whatever are, I find in my little town,
Yes.
Facebook is still king.
Yes.
It's one of the few places where you recommend put all your
Yes.
advertising effort and
Yep.
money into Facebook, and it's
It
such a
is.
weird thing to tell that to people.
Especially like I came from group coaching. Like I worked in the group coaching industry for years,
Yeah.
wrote programs and did their marketing and stuff. So switching from that a few years ago into this, we didn't use Facebook on the group coaching side, maybe a little bit here and there, but we didn't use Facebook.
Right.
And then that's the feedback I'm getting. Oh yeah, that's all we use over here. Okay. We just went back 20
Yeah.
years, but okay. We can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
isn't it weird? Because I work with
Yeah.
a lot of national clients. So I'm a weird. So I have two. I have
Yeah.
my own little side company, and then I work
Yeah.
for Titan Digital, and Titan Media Works, which is the
Hmm.
company that does this. So I do a
Yeah.
lot of local work on my own with local
Yeah.
businesses and stuff. And it's such a switch of gears I've got a national client on the phone where we're going to do programmatic and pay-per-click ads, and we're going to get you in those Google
Yeah.
results, and we're going to do this or
Oh.
whatever. And then like my phone will ring, and it'll be a bakery down the road. And I'm like, post on Facebook 3 times a week, show your face, and don't
Yeah,
punch a
yeah.
like that's generally the
Yes. And I
marketing
tell people, don't
advice.
say anything you
So
wouldn't say in the middle of a crowded room. If you would say it in the middle of church, okay? If you'd say it in the middle of the crowd at church, you can say it
yeah,
online.
right,
But remember, it's not a private
right.
conversation. But yeah, that's all there is to it.
No.
Just you have to start somewhere and get out there, and then your momentum will gather. But it's sometimes difficult for the business owner to keep paying enough attention to the marketing to give it long enough for it to work. They cut it off too soon.
Yeah, and that's and that's the thing is I don't think people realize we're in such a high demand of this
Yes.
instant gratification society
Yes.
or this viral TikTok society that they think if they make a
Right?
video, then in 2 weeks they're going to have 1 million
Yep.
followers and be living the good life. But a good marketing campaign, and this goes for
Yes.
national, local, takes 3 to 6
Thank
months
you.
to even start to
Yes.
understand where
Yes.
you're going and what to do. And if you don't understand that, to go into a little into the weeds, there's something we do in marketing
Mhm.
called A/B testing, meaning that we will make the same ad 2 versions, float it out there, and track which one's doing better. That takes at least 3 months. And then you take that A/B testing and you split it again and make 2 versions of the one that won to narrow that down. And that could take another 3 months. And then at the end of the time, you have an ad. Now, here's where I'm going to say, and you may vary with me in your small town marketing, a blatant ad to say, hey, I shingle houses and this
Yeah.
is what I do, and here's my number and call me for it, should only be around a quarter of your actual
Yes.
presence. And maybe that's a little high
And
sometimes.
only after you have figured out your audience, figured out your message, after you've earned some respect and some topical authority, then you can place an ad. I'm not against ads. We have one of our experts that works with us. That's all she
No,
does is
absolutely.
Facebook ads. It's great. But we go to that too soon. It's not, now, hey, if you want a flash in the pan, like,
Mhm.
sure, I can tell you how to do a viral video and we can put it out there and you
Yeah.
can do your one video. And 3 months from now, you're never going to see anything again. But if you're looking for an investment,
Right.
if you're looking for something that's going to continue to snowball in a positive way over time, it has to be this true branding and marketing combo. And it takes time, the 3 to 6 months. I mean, that is kind of the the
Yes.
shortest time frame. but it's what is your goal? What is your long now, we have had clients that their goal is to build up their business so they can sell it. We want to sell it in 2 years. We're trying to build up our customer base.
Hmm.
This is our goal. We'll go ads on that one. Like, let's get it going and let's wrap,
Oh
let's
yeah,
keep
yeah.
everything rolling. We'll do things maybe a little bit edgy that gets more attention, and we'll work up that client list and we go. That's not most people. So if you're looking
No,
5, 10, 20 years from now, you have to do organic marketing and then build onto it. That's fine.
you do. And
Mhm.
you're in a little different because there's certain industries. So understand, if you're listening to this and you're an independent insurance agent or you're a real estate agent or you work in the medical field, there are definitely laws and restrictions on what you can say and do online. That's just the way that it is. So make sure that you check those. I remember one of the first real estate clients I took. I didn't know this, so I was making posts and doing content, and then one of my real estate friends, I'm
Mhm.
like, "Do you want them to lose their license? Do you want them to whatever?" And then I sold insurance for a couple of years, so I
Yep.
know the regulations. You got to be really, really careful. So understand what I'm going to say after this. Those are excluded. Make sure, if you have to have a license to do your job from the state, you check the regulations of what your advertising can and cannot be and what your violations are. That's just an extra
Mhm.
tip for this. So make sure that you do that, because what the advice I'm getting ready to give is for outside of those. Um,
Yes,
I want to
yes.
make that clear. Uh, be your expert is what I always tell people: is be your expert. Be your town's expert. So if I'm in marketing, I'm working in a small town, then I sign up for chamber expos. I sign up for every lunch and
Yes.
learn that I can find. I sign up for I'll have there's a brewery here, and I do marketing and beer classes every once in a
Mm.
while. And you know what? It doesn't matter. And unfortunately, I'm going to say this: I'm good at what I do, but it doesn't
Yep.
matter because I'm out
Yes.
there. It matters because I'm communicating with people and I'm
Yes.
talking to people and I'm making myself
Yes.
visible. And not only that, is I'm telling you that it's my field. I'm going to
Mhm.
own this field in this town. And if you're a construction worker, how
Mhm.
about some how-to videos? How about get your kid out there, have them film you and do how to clean a drain the proper way, how to fix a doorstop the proper way. If you own a local coffee shop, show them how to make some coffee drinks you can make at home. It might sound counterproductive of what of how they're not going to come give coffee, but I guarantee you they're going to look at you that somebody gives.
Mhm.
You give that information, you become your expert, and people
Mhm.
like an expert. They like an accessible expert. So that's my next small town tip: is own your
Mhm.
field and take that online and give those tips and become your expert in online
Yeah,
now.
and you're also trying to show the algorithms that you're an expert. A lot of times when we are
Yes.
writing or reviewing articles to post on our client sites, we have to think about it in, long tail keywords. We have to think about it in, how is the formatting set out? Are we using our proper headings?
Right.
And that has more to do with Google right now, I feel like. It's my opinion. It has more to do with Google
Hmm.
than it does readability of the article, because you're not really writing it for a person to read. You're writing it for Google to read because
No.
people skim it. They're going to skim it, go to the video, you're
Right.
done. So you have to keep both of those sides in mind, because Google has to show you in
Yeah.
search results. It's up to them to, you know,
Yeah.
to show your information.
Yeah. And also,
Yeah.
weirdly enough, you know why I'm considered an
Hmm.
expert in my field is because my
Yep.
name's right there and I have a
Yep.
microphone right here. That's literally all the
I know it.
qualifications you need to be the
Yep.
expert in your field.
That's it.
That
That's it.
that that's it. That's it. The two things. So what other tips would you give? Because we've talked about
Yeah.
making sure you're present, making sure you don't say anything that you wouldn't
Yeah.
say at church, make sure you're an
Yep.
expert in your field. I think I mentioned networking and chambers. Can we talk about that
Sure.
for a minute and utilizing
Yeah.
those things? What would your advice be on
I say
those?
anything that you have the resources to invest in. So if you have the time, you have the money, if it right now, because it's not always feasible in the moment, but once you're established and
Yeah.
you can set aside 10% of your week to give back somewhere, absolutely go for it. Any type of town cleanup or we have like depot days here every fall. Get out there for depot days. One of my local clients set up a tent, excuse me, and they did their thing out there and they promoted their business. But the community saw it as them handing out water bottles. The community saw it as them giving back,
Right.
but it's amazing advertising. Think about if you could, all right, think about a national billboard. You put up a national billboard, you're hoping the right people drive by. You're hoping a certain percent of the people that drive
Right.
by and see it are your target audience. But then most people that are driving by aren't
Right.
paying attention. So then you're hoping a certain percentage of those are paying
Nope.
attention, and then a certain percentage of them will remember.
Hmm.
Well, what if I could guarantee you that the next 500 people that drive by your billboard either directly want your product or are related to or closely know someone that does? How much would you pay for that? It's
Right.
invaluable. Like, oh my word, yeah.
Way more. Yeah.
That's what
Right.
setting up at Tenant Depot Days does. That's what Chamber of Commerce does. That's what
Hmm.
showing up, if you have a school board opportunity, if
Yes.
you have be present, be seen, help coach sports if your kids are into that. That's all part of that building a small
Right.
town reputation. Yeah.
I think every small
Mhm.
town is the same because every small town has a football
Yeah.
team, sports team. You get the, hey, sponsor the little
Yeah.
league jersey, or hey, you want to be on the 5% punch card they sell, or hey, on I remember on our football field here, there's only bleachers on
Yeah.
one side, so they have them. So the far side, the fence around the track is you can
Yeah.
buy
Yeah.
banners and you can buy
Yep.
stuff like that. Tho- those
Yep.
those are really good because small town sports is I I don't understand why small town
Go.
sports are so like huge, like Friday Night Lights, football
Hey,
seasons,
we're in North
volleyball
Alabama.
seasons,
I am right there with you.
all of
Like I
those
just
things.
woo.
Oh, right, right. Especially in the
Yeah.
South. If you're listening to this and you got a twang to your voice, this
Right.
applies to you. Those localized sports teams is a wonderful
Yes.
place to market. Now, it's going to depend on an ad
Yes.
budget. We're going to take advantage of local sports, local chambers. We're going to give back. Now, how do you fight an ad budget? Because sometimes in a small town, let's
Yep.
say I'm a startup or I'm a
Right.
year or two in. Now, national average says it should be 6 to 8% of
Yep.
your gross income should be your
Yep.
advertising and marketing budget. But sometimes people need that to
Yes.
keep the lights on. So we
Mhm.
have organic, and if you don't, for everybody, when we say organic marketing, we mean that you're doing it yourself. That you're out there, you've got a camera and your ring light, and you're talking about your business and you're posting it yourself. You don't have any paid influence in that whatsoever. That's what organic marketing is. But organic marketing is a
It is.
slow build. If you have a
Yep.
limited budget and you have an option between radio, paper, sport team sponsorship for a community
Mhm.
festival, whatever, where do you recommend that you take that limited budget to?
So in that situation, I would have to go back to the original strategy for the company because it's all going to depend on what your goal is. Remember, as we're doing this marketing and advertising, you are not selling a product and you are not selling a service. You're selling a solution to the customer. So, if you tanning salons, they're not offering tanning. They're offering you the chance to feel better about yourself. You know? So,
Right.
once you have that's a lot of the work we do initially is figuring out where a company is, what their goals are because I grew up my family owned like a lawn care company, and so my dad always saw it as we do services A, B, and C. Well, no, no. You're selling time freedom. You're selling being the first one in the
Yes.
neighborhood to get your lawn cut. So it's helping these small businesses kind of start thinking outside the box. Once you've identified your real goal, the real solution that you're offering, then you can look at sports team versus chamber of commerce. Well, in a lawn care area, in a lot of areas, sports teams is the obvious choice. But if you're insurance or if you're an attorney, or then maybe chamber of commerce is a better place for your connections. The one warning I will give is we normally work with companies that are really strapped for money, and you have to get your house in order first. You have to look at the business side of it first and start working within your budget. I don't think anyone should go into debt over advertising. If your budget for your business is that small and that tight, we need to investigate organic options that you're not paying for, or maybe something a little bit more focused. So keep your goals in mind. Stay within your budget. if you want a larger budget for advertising, figure out how to make that happen. A lot of times we'll do a quick campaign for one of the highest sales or revenue thing for the company to just bring in some quick cash. I mean, sometimes that's the whole goal, and let's start with cash,
Right.
but you have to start there. Putting an ad out for a sports team cannot be a guaranteed return. You cannot say, 250 people will see this, so, this many of them are gonna come. That has to be over and above everything else. It has to be money that is set aside and not you can't make it a gamble. Like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this and maybe these people will come in." Like, you can't make it a gamble. You have to have surplus to be able to financially support things like a sports team, and then over time it'll all come in. Um, for most small businesses we see, organic marketing really boosts their revenues really quickly because people around them are looking for somebody and word spreads fast. Now, the 6 months to a year part is where you have to get a little more creative. But that initial one, we see great returns from just simple, organic, here we are, what we do marketing.
And I'm going to follow up and absolutely pile on what
Whew,
you
good.
just said is if you no if you have a very
Mhm,
limited budget, use that to
mhm,
produce organic content. Because in my previous explanation of organic content, it's just something you're
mhm,
not paying marketers for. You're not paying Facebook. You're not paying Google to place your ad. You're using free
mhm.
avenues. It's like you use a park for a birthday
Yep,
party, right?
yep, yep.
Right?
It is,
It's a
yeah,
good
yeah,
analogy, right? You go to the park. You don't have to pay
yep,
anything to use the park for your birthday party. But aren't you still paying for the party? You're
right.
still paying for the balloons, the cake, the sodas, the stuff like that. So that's my
Mhm.
analogy of find some way to use that money to produce
Yep.
organic content. Whether it be hiring a local film
Mhm,
student to come film your content to give it that edge, hiring a local company to help produce
mhm.
that content, to maybe the drama club to help you
Yeah.
write that content, or find somebody or invest 20-30 bucks into a chat or an
Mhm.
AI writing program to improve your content. I would absolutely, if you have a minimal budget, and let's talk about 50 to
Yep,
100 bucks a month.
yep,
That's what I'm talking about, is that you can invest in
yes.
programs on the internet to help. I think it's called
Mhm. Opus
Opus.
clips. Uh-huh.
There's VidIO,
Mhm.
Opus Clips. There's VidIO. There's a lot of
Canva,
different things out there.
in video. Yeah,
Canva,
yeah.
stuff like that, in video, that you can get for
Mhm.
20 to 30 bucks mixed with some YouTube and time to improve your content a
Mhm.
thousandfold. Look, when I started my marketing company, I'm going to
Okay.
tell on myself here. I started it about
Yeah.
10 years ago, and even and when it really got effective is I
Yeah.
noticed content was king. So I went out and I bought all these 20,
Mhm.
$30 programs and just
Yep,
learned how to use them and started charging people 500 bucks a month to use the
yep.
$30 program,
yes, yes.
right?
But you know
I
how to
mean,
use
that's
it.
it.
That's the
That's
difference.
but I know how
Yes.
to use that. So now that I'm still very
Yep,
focused on content marketing, I have leveled those
yep.
systems up and those things up to make sure that we produce content at a
Yes.
reasonable rate, because I think that's still a
Yes.
thing that we do. But what I would do is invest. Marketing is an investment
Mhm.
of time or money, and if you're low on budget, set
Yes.
aside the time. Now, if you're a barista or you're a lawyer, law and coffee are your specialties. Do not become a marketing
Right.
specialist. What you're going to do is you're going to invest in time and a little
Mhm.
money in learning how to use some
Mhm.
active programs, or if you're 40, pay your kids to do it.
Exactly.
But
Yes. Yes.
if you're
Uh-huh.
scared of tech, if you're scared of tech, double your kids' allowance and like make mommy
Yeah.
TikTok famous. That I
Mhm.
mean
Mhm.
that's a viable
Yeah.
option as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the okay, to take your park analogy. So you have, let's say, you're going to the park
Yeah.
and you're trying to sell something and you don't have to buy a booth here, whatever. There are still tips and tricks that you can
Yep.
use within those parameters. So if you don't have money for paid per click
Yes.
ads or, a sports team right now, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. It's not going to hold you back because if you're not doing
No.
anything, doing something, but video is king, you know, like
Yes.
so do videos with your content instead of just an image, and it's going to boost your algorithms. And posting consistently is going to boost your
Yes.
algorithms. Go to YouTube University,
Yes.
look up what is best for your industry in marketing. There are all kinds of people that talk about it. One of the big things that we did before we actually started, this whole deal a few years ago was
Hmm.
looked at how to repurpose content that is being created. Because I was seeing so many people
Yes.
spend so much money on a video over here and a post over here and an article over here when it is not cohesive, when it's not planned out ahead of time. One,
No.
you miss out on some of your topical authority, but two, it's really expensive and it's really time consuming. So we map it out first. We like to choose about 10 different areas for a company, and those become the topics. And then we split it into 4 or 5 subtopics, and each of those subtopics becomes a topical cluster. So we'll create 10 or so
Yes.
articles, 5 or 6 videos, and about 30 different post images. Then you mix and match it, you know? And then you have like
Right.
if you do that for each cluster, if you post once or twice a week, you have a year's worth of material. And
Oh, yeah.
you can figure out your workflow where it doesn't take as long. So do not be creating one post at a time. I mean, that's the thing. If you're really trying to get in this and doing
No.
it long term,
You
do it in batches.
look. What you need to do is you need to eat some special brownies and go binge watch Mad
Yes.
Men and get that creative Don Draper
Yes.
spirit and make you a do-it-yourself
Yes.
advertising campaign. It has to
Yes.
have purpose, it has to have flow, and it has to have spirit. Please don't do the moral things Don Draper did. Focus on the creativity. But um but yes, you get make yourself
Hmm.
a campaign.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. Look, the first podcast I made was awful. The first advertising campaign I
Right.
made was awful. My first marriage,
Right.
awful, right? So the first time you do things, you're going to be pretty bad
Yeah.
at them. It's but the more you do it, the better
Yes.
you're gonna get. I'm in marketing because I was in podcasting. And then I had to make I figured out that if I made marketing campaigns for my
Yeah.
sponsors, then I got to keep all the marketing money
There
instead of
you
hiring
go.
somebody else, right? And I was
Of
really bad
course.
at it at first. And then I moved to marketing and I left podcasting, went to marketing, and look,
Yeah.
here we're back here. So that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, manage your content. So
Yeah.
let's wrap up. I'm going to go back through I'm going to go back through one is watch what you do. Everybody's watching. Small town marketing. Watch
Mhm.
what you say. Watch what you do. Don't shit on the sidewalk. Number two, utilize the things that are
Yes.
there for you.
Yes.
Utilize the chambers, the charities, the things. Make yourself an expert. Make yourself known for
Mhm.
what you do. Get out there. Um, if you have to advertise, use your local channels that matches what you're after. Get to know your marketing, get to know your audience a little better and who you're after, and then you know where to plunk those advertising dollars when you have them. If you do not have that many advertising dollars, look into programs. Look into programs like Canva, other things that you can get. Um, they look into other programs and other methods that you could do some do-it-yourself marketing. Watch some YouTube and know how to do that. And lastly, content and video content is king. Make some videos and use these programs to carry you through until you get that little extra money that you can do some paid non-organic advertising to take you to that next level. All right,
No,
Hannah, did
that
I miss
sounds
anything?
great. I love it. I love it.
Okay. So tell us how we can find you, what you
Sure.
specialize in, how you do. The next portion of the show, it's
All
all
right.
about you,
Well, I like
Hannah.
this part. So you can find us online. We're designerbrandingsolutions.com. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn and some of the basics. We don't do a ton of our own marketing, which is kind of standard, but we're working on that. So we are out there, but designerbrandingsolutions.com, we have where you can submit a little form and ask a question. Or right now, my calendar is on there and it's open, which will not last much longer. But right now, we're really still in a kind of research and development stage to figure out what exactly these independent functional medicine practitioners need. So, if anybody has advice out there or if they're looking for some help and think we would be a good fit, so jump on there and grab a time, or let me know. I'll reach out to you. So, that's kind of where we are. But our goal is to bring a universal branding and marketing solution to these people that need it the most. I mean, these practitioners we work with are such good-hearted people and they want to give back. they just don't have all the tools that they need to do it. So that's our ultimate goal. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Is that
All right. Well,
okay? Okay. Okay.
absolutely. No, I was just waiting.
Thanks.
And so the next part is all about me. My name is Ryan Sherrer. I am creative director. I'm a do head. I'm director of operations. So when we were picking titles for this new company, I picked do head. Titan Media Works. We are your content solution. Now, we don't do all the cool marketing things like Hannah over here does. What we do is we do content solutions. That's what we do. We help you get in that content game. We want to make it affordable for small business. So if you need any of that, message me at ryan@titandigital.com, and we can get you set up with some of that stuff. This podcast is brought to you by Titan Media Works. Sorry, we just changed the name of the company. It's hard to remember. Titan Media Works. We works for you. We got an X at the end. So we works for you. All right. So Cash, I hope you're watching this. All right. Until next time, everybody. Don't fire me, Cash.